We here? Yeah, yeah. I'm right back at you like I never left, and I'm gonna go this hard to my last breath. It's Lil Kenny Russell, Kanoom, Consort Moon. You already know what you're gonna give when you step in this room. You're now dealing with Kanoom. Yeah, yeah, I'm here. And while I'm here, I'm gonna make the information direct and clear because a lot of y'all can't hear. Yeah, yeah. Now, welcome back to Make My Ancestors Great Again. This is another episode of My Thoughts. This is My Thoughts 232, and that's the title states the Bible and slaves. Okay, on My Thoughts 232. We're going to continue to go further and further down the rabbit hole. It's Wednesday. This is the middle of the week, and I have more verses and scriptures on slavery in the Bible. This comes from Paul. Okay, like a lot of the most obnoxious things or some of the most outrageous claims and things came from Paul. Okay, but we're going to discuss and get into all that in a second. Let's listen to the ancestors.
One thing you have to get through your mind and keep it. Nothing that ever came from the European mind was meant to do anything but facilitate European domination of the world. And I said there's no exception.
Love the ancestors, and I always give them honor, and I hold them in high regard. So it's a toast to the ancestors. Now, like I said, we're going to continue and look and deal and talk about slavery in the Bible. Yesterday, it spoke about how you should suffer well. But again, in my mind, the way I interpret things, suffrage and happiness, it's an oxymoron. You cannot be suffering happily. Okay. So a lot of the things in the Bible are contradictory. Okay. Tons of them. If you don't believe it, all you have to do is go on my page and look at my thoughts, look at all the did you knows, and you'll find a lot of them. And you can get in the comment section and you can tell me what you think on what I've put forth thus far. But it's tons of contradictions in the Bible, and it's tons of idiotic scenarios, situations, stories, and folklore in the Bible. Okay. So this should not, what I'm going to speak about today, shouldn't shock you any further than you've been shocked thus far. So let's get into this. This is 1 Timothy 6:1. Okay. It's just two scriptures. Let's look at it. Like, share, subscribe, comment, and I thank you for watching. Let's get into the scripture.
6. All slaves should show full respect for their masters.
This is the New Living Translation. Okay, I read the New Living Translation because it brings it to layman's terms. Okay, let's go back. Now, in the King James, a lot of this stuff say servants. But when you say servants obey your master, you understand that the root word that they're putting right there, the term servant, is dealing with a slave or a person in servitude, which again, servitude and slavery can be interchangeably used, in some regards. It's not the same as chattel slavery, but yet and still, this is slavery because you have mistreatment, you have humiliation, what you're doing is you're making the other party inhuman, if you will. The only way you could justify slaving another human being is if you made them immoral of some sort. Okay. So this is an inhumane act. Wow. Being in a book that's supposed to show you how to be humane. Again, a contradiction and a oxymoronic thought pattern. But this is what it does. Religion develops insanity. Let me let you hear that again. This is 6:1, 1 Timothy 6:1. Again, this is wrote to the church of Ephesus from Paul.
Chapter 6. All slaves should show full respect for their masters.
all slaves should show full respect to their masters. That's peculiar. Why didn't it say all slaves from here on out? I break the yoke. I break the understanding of slavery because I'm God. See, this book is wrote by the people that was under the inspiration of God. Why doesn't it say all slavery from here on out is condemned and it will never take place again? Because see, God found out about it. Yahshua HaMashiach, the Messiah, excuse me, the Yehuda, Yahweh, Yehiki, Yewikiwa, all this nonsense. Jesus the Christ, Father, the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit, the Trinity, the Jehovah, the Yahweh, all this type of stuff. He found out and he has condemned and he deals with slavery harshly. Okay. Every time you bring up slavery, I'm going to strike you down. You don't see that in here, do you, African people? You hear me? So again, this is a endorsement and or a justification for slavery. God loves it. He says all slaves should show full respect for their masters. Okay, let's continue. You hear me? And again, this is New Living Translation.
So they will not bring shame on the name of God and his teaching.
So they will not bring shame on the name of God and his teachings. Okay. Wow. Be a good slave so you don't bring shame on God and his teachings. Well, I guess he didn't teach anything against slavery. He didn't teach that slavery was an inhumane act. He didn't teach that slavery was one set of people putting their foot on another set of people. He didn't see that slavery is a mistreatment of one set of people by another set of people. That's not equality. Okay. This is silliness, foolishness. You hear me? When you believe in this stuff, this is what takes your spirituality, balled it up, and throw it in the garbage can. But I tell you, what you need to do is reverse that. Take this nonsensical garbage, balled it up, and take it to the nearest garbage can. This God that they talking about, serve him with all reverence, your master, so you can make God feel good. Take him and throw him in the garbage can too. You hear me, African people? Nothing will happen to you. No boogeyman will come from up under your bed and get you because you took this nonsense to the nearest garbage can. God is the man that speaks for God. So when Paul is putting together all these outrageous and erroneous thoughts and put it down and say he was inspired by God to do so, he's a damn fool. And whoever wrote under this pen name Paul, because there never been a Paul. There's never been a man named Paul in human being history. I want you to understand that, African people. But the justification for slavery is for foolish people to continue and further foolish thought patterns. This is to create idiots. This is to further the continuance of creating idiots. Because only an idiot would think that this was righteous at any time period. Oh, that's the way it was. People used to do servitude. I understand that. But why is God dibbling and dabbling in slave contracts? Why is God saying, keep your slave master happy? Because that shows him my word. How happy I am with you. Yeah, you being mistreated, but you acting like a Christian. You took that ass whooping and that slavery well. You hear me? This is what he's saying, African people. Let's continue. This is nonsense.
If the masters are believers, that is no excuse for being disrespectful.
If the masters are believers, if they're Christians too, that's no reason for being disrespectful. What does that mean? That means he knows the so-called teachings of Christianity as well, but he just so happened to be a slave master at the same time, which again is oxymoronic. How can you be a good Christian man, but you own slaves? One would cancel out the other, African people. You hear me? So this stuff is garbage. if he's a believer in this stuff, that means even more you shouldn't be disrespectful, because he know how to treat slaves, which obviously he doesn't, because you're speaking about it here. But even if he's a Christian man, the slave owner, continue to treat him well, because he know how Christians should treat other Christians. This is a damn shame, African people. And it's confusing because it's contradictory. You hear me? Let's continue.
Those slaves should work all the harder because their efforts are helping other believers who are well loved.
Those slaves who have a Christian slave owner should work all the harder because their efforts are helping other believers who are well loved. So your slave owner or whoever put you in servitude, which is a master, he's a Christian man. So you work even harder so other people can say, man, boss, slave master, whatever you call him, he whooping on that slave's ass. But I like the way that slave takes it. He's taking it like a Christian. But he's getting all abuse imputed on him by another Christian, a man who should know better. But yet and still he's driving him hard, being just a good slave master. But yet he's a Christian. So I'm supposed to work just as hard because the other people who's watching me, they'll be more well loved. Trying to put silly, foolish understandings into regular human being psyche like mine, because I'm a thinker. Putting this nonsensical folklore, what do they call these? These kiddie riddles and these little folklore stories for children in kindergarten. Putting these nursery rhymes together for a grown-up who don't believe in the land of make-believe, it's a very hard thing to do because the concept is nonsensical. You hear me? Let's continue, African people. See, I've rose above all this silliness. This means nothing to me. Nothing. That's it. That was it. That was 1 Timothy 1 through 3, I believe, or 1 through 2. 1 Timothy 6:1. I'm sorry, 1 Timothy 6:1 through 3. Okay. So I wanted to share that with you because, again, we're going further and further down this rabbit hole to see how God deals with slavery. Or some people say it's servitude. That's cool. But a lot of the boss worker relationship is not done in this manner. You don't have to beat them and drive them home and disrespectful. No, it's not how it happens. Walmart could have never rose to the status that it has rose to if the employer-employee relationship was as horrible as this is. Target and any other brand, Mitsubishi, Chevrolet, Honda, Ford Company, none of these companies, Pepsi Cola, any of these, the Dorito, the Frito brand, none of these companies could have got to where they've gotten with a horrible employer-employee relationship as it discusses here. But if it did, when I whoop your ass, if I'm one of these names I aforementioned, and I whoop all my employees' ass, but I say, hey, love what I'm doing to you, I would have been the only person that was patronizing these brands that I just aforementioned. It would have never grew to billion and multi-billion-dollar streams of revenue if the employer-employee relationships was dealt with like that. And gives me excuse, oh, he whooped their ass because he expect the best of them. He whooped that ass because he knows. I mean, this is foolishness, African people. We don't have to dig too deep into this. That's my thoughts on that. That's 1 Timothy 6:1 in the New Living Translation. You can read it for yourself. That's my thoughts on that. This is a foolish concept, and this stuff need to be discarded. It's Lil Kenny Russell, Kanoon, Consul, Moon. You already know what you're going to give me. You step in this room, you're now dealing with Kanoon. This is what I do, and I love to do it. And before I take back what I said, I add some more to it. This is not to take your religion from you. This is to restore what was taken from you at the time religion was given to you. Spirituality. See, nonsensical concepts will develop insanity in your mind, your way of thinking. You will try to rationalize this foolishness. When guys say, hey, slaves, treat your masters good because it shows my teaching. Why didn't that guy just say, you know what, I'm going to eradicate slavery? Any slave owner from here on out will be dealt with very harshly. The punishment he'll receive is like they said for the non-believer. He'll wake up in agony and hell, and he would sit there for eternity. You don't see him dealing with slavery like that, do you, African people? Exactly. Like, share, subscribe, comment, and I thank you for watching. If you feel like you want to do something for me, like and subscribe because it won't cost you a fee. Education and preparation is the first step to retaliation. So before you pick up a weapon or a silly religion, pick up some knowledge. If anybody's offended by anything you heard, I meant every word. See y'all tomorrow.